The damage control for PlayStation is extreme right now. after this, the FTC battle with Activision going on right now, like the damage control that I'm seeing on Twitter and on freaking YouTube right now for feel bad for PlayStation, dude. This is getting insane, man. Like literally insane. These PlayStation fanboy channels, these e-beggars, they expect, like they get you all fired up and get you all hyped up and trash Xbox all the freaking time. These guys, like seriously, everything they're saying, man, literally doesn't make any sense. They are trying to convince us and everybody that Microsoft is evil because they are buying publishers. Welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew. Let's dive into this for a minute. So I was just watching something with Colin Moriarty and then our good old buddy Reforge Gaming. Like what's going on with these guys, dude? Why do they feel so inclined to have to defend PlayStation or talk down about Xbox? This is good. Xbox buying Activision is good for the industry. I mean, if you look at, they always want to the sales of PS, the sales of this, the sales of that. PlayStation has to pay for third-party games to make them exclusive. PlayStation goes out of their way to push developers around and try to get them to 100% make their games in parity. If they are going to put them on Xbox, they're in parity. And then you get like these games coming out and you get people like Digital Foundry being like, oh yeah, the PlayStation runs better. Well, of course it runs better. It was highly optimized for the PlayStation 5 at launch. They barely got the Xbox One going, the Xbox version going out. If you look at Baldurs Gate 3 right now, that team has probably spent most of their time developing and optimizing that for the PlayStation 5 so it could come out at 864p at 60 frames a second. While the Xbox version, they're like, oh man, we're struggling with the Series S. Why are they struggling with the Series S? Why? Because they probably started development on that at the very last, and now they're trying to get it working, trying to get it done, so the Xbox version is not coming out at launch with the PlayStation version. And that really sucks. That really sucks. Now, I have made multiple videos before on questioning, should Xbox have went a different route with Xbox Series S? But then every time I play a game on my Series S, I've been proven wrong multiple times. Every time I'm like, ooh, I don't know about this. I don't know about this, man. And I started up on the Series S and I start playing it. I'm immediately immersed in the experience. I'm having fun. I'm enjoying it. It doesn't look terrible on a 1440p monitor. I'm like, wow, man, that's actually pretty impressive. Rarely, I don't think I've played one game on the Series S that really gave me cause for concern yet. Especially the other day when I loaded up Final Fantasy Origins and noticed that they had finally brought all the textures and all of the geometry and everything to the Series S version. I was like, wow. See, just a little bit more optimization time in the Series S version is going to be just fine. I loaded up Jedi Survivor after the new patch on the Series S. I was sitting here and I was playing it and I was looking at it and I was like, gosh dang, that looks incredible on this 1440p monitor. Like it looks really crisp and really nice. And so I don't understand the hate for Xbox. The fact that they brought a cheaper console to the market so that people can afford to still buy a console, because console price has always been, around $200 to $300. And then we started getting into these, and then the prices started going up over the last two generations, or last three, if you factor in PlayStation 3's launch with the $600 and stuff. But they're starting to try to push the console market into the PC realm. Like $500 price for these consoles is starting to push it into the PC realm. So once you start getting a pro console, I do feel like the PC market should be included in this now. If you're starting to get into $500 range for your consoles as an entry point, that there is technically, close enough to like, hey man, another couple $100 and you can have a little bit better running PC for that same price. If you're going to pay $500, and then And then to top that argument off, you gotta take this into consideration. If you have people out there that are willing to spend $750 on say they come out with an Xbox Super Series X and a PS5 Pro, and they're like, yeah, $699 or something. If they start to get that price even a little bit higher, when does it stop being a console? Because they would have to at least double the power of rasterization or something to make these pro consoles worth going out and buying. Because a little bit of upgrade's not going to do it. Like, people are going to want 4K 60 frames a second if they buy another mid-gen refresh. They're going to want that. So when do they cross that line into, yeah, might as well just buy a PC? When does it cross the line to where we can get to a point where it's like, okay, yeah, the consoles are basically entry-level PCs now? When does it cross that point to where now you're like, ooh, I don't know about this, man. Maybe I should just invest a little bit more in a PC so that I can actually have, like the resolutions and the frame rate and the freedom to do what I want to do. That's what, like, these fanboy channels out there do not know what they're talking about. They are simply so concerned about making content and bashing Xbox to get their community to give them money or to get clicks or whatever the freak they're doing. At the same time, they're just tearing gaming down. Microsoft going out of their way to buy a specific point, a part, or a piece of the overall market. It's kind of what, like, seriously, if any other person on the planet right now wanted to come out and be like, yeah, you know what, man, we're going to enter the console space. We're going to bring out a console. It'd be almost impossible. And Microsoft having to fight with, having to challenge, PlayStation and freaking Nintendo Switch or in Nintendo, it's impossible. They have to buy a certain part of the market. They have to, like, they have to, in order for competition to continue to be robust and to continue to get the boundaries pushed in this market space. Microsoft has to compete in the console market space. They have to have enough reason, or at least enough, like, when you walk into the store, you're like, oh man, if I buy a PlayStation, I get Uncharted and God of War and Horizon and this and that. Or if I buy an Xbox, then I get Call of Duty, I get Diablo, I get Starfield, I get, you know what I mean? Like, there has to be a reason when you walk into a store, not just blind loyalty to one brand. There has to be a reason for the consumer to be like, yeah, man, maybe I should buy an Xbox, because that is healthy competition. And we need healthy competition. And Xbox having to buy, I personally am fine with Xbox with what exclusives they had. For me, that was enough reason to buy that. But on the other end, when I go into a console space, and this is what every consumer should be asking, and this is what these fanboys should be asking. When I walk into a store saying, all right, cool, man, I really like, Halo, Gears, Forza, blah, blah, blah. Like, I like those games. So I'm going to buy the Xbox. They don't want to have to look over at the other side and be like, well, man, PlayStation's got Uncharted and God of War and this. And they make their choice, all right, I'm going with Halo. But then PlayStation over there just buying up third-party exclusivity deals and taking those games from Xbox when they could have been there too. That there is more destructive than what Xbox is doing right now. That is more destructive. When you're sitting there at the beginning of this generation, you bought your Xbox and you played Final Fantasy 15 on your Xbox last generation, you're like, yeah, man, I'm going to play the next Final Fantasy game. And then you've got PlayStation being like, no, man, we're keeping Final Fantasy 16 on PS5. You're already into that Xbox purchase and you're like, oh man, that sucks. But now with Xbox buying Activision and being like, yeah, man, we are going to put these games on all consoles in parity without having anybody getting any extra special deals. That there alone is enough to be like, all right, cool, man. Now I could buy an Xbox version of Call of Duty and I don't have to worry about PlayStation guys getting an extra mode or extra skins or any of that stuff. That's kind of where I see Xbox going with this generation. Being like, all right, Sony, you want to keep paying for games to not be on Xbox? Well, we're going to buy this publisher and we're going to put it on everything. We're going to buy this publisher and take away your ability to push the market in the way you want to push the market in. We're sick and tired of you holding us down. We're going to stand our ground, and we're going to buy our way in to a point where you can't cut us off anymore. Now, Sony will always have that power to cut Japanese games out of the Xbox ecosystem. But when it comes to the one thing that I heard in this whole FTC case that really made me think like, yeah, this was the smartest thing for Xbox to do was buy Activision, because I kind of figured, I was like, why buy Activision? Why buy Activision? That game is like Call of Duty is at a point where it could fall out of grace really quickly now. Why invest that money there? Obviously, they saw enough reason with mobile and everything else to be like, to justify if Call of Duty does fall from grace, they would still be able to recoup the investment in the Activision purchase with those types of games. But when they had to change the deal in order for Activision to continue to support Xbox Series S, that's when that's when you knew that this deal like this had to happen. Like this had to happen. Either this, or they would have had to buy Take-Two, or they would have had to buy another big game that's on everything and put it on the Xbox and continue to be able to get that. By buying Activision outright, I don't think Take-Two or EA or any of these other big AAA developers are gonna be as likely to skip Xbox going forward as they would, because I mean, like, if you look at the numbers, PlayStation 5 is almost at 40 million, Xbox is at 21 million. If you look at those numbers, that's still pretty good for Xbox. Like, it's not, I mean, it is starting to get closer to that 2-to-1 margin, and that could potentially be where it's going this generation too. But I do think with Xbox having a cheaper Xbox out there as the generation continues to move on, as long as they do not do what Tom Warren is saying about, should Xbox give up their parody thing, as long as they don't give that up and they continue to support developers and help them bring their games to Series S in parity with Series X, I think the Series S is going to be able to continue to sell well throughout this generation and still be able to bring people in from, either like Nintendo or just people that haven't started playing video games yet, that there's still a reasonable path forward for Xbox to bring new people into the Xbox ecosystem with the Series S and still be able to continue to grow that base from the lower end up. So if you look at Xbox, the way it's mapped up right now, and there's no need for them to bring out another mid-gen console, is you have Series S to bring you in. You have Series X if you want a little bit more power, and then you have PC. You can go straight to PC. You can buy games through the Xbox Marketplace. You can get the most open experience. Whereas on PlayStation, I don't want any harm to come to PlayStation. I still love my PlayStation. I do want things to be more fair. I do want things to be less conflicting when it comes to like this whole fanboy thing. But when you have so many people out there that literally have dedicated channels to hating Xbox for their personal gain, when they probably don't even play half of these games anyways. And that's the thing, man. Like, you got all these guys out there hating on Xbox, and they're all they're like, since Final Fantasy 16 came out, like, I mean, think about it. My channel pretty much went dark the whole time I was playing Final Fantasy 16. Maybe one little video, maybe two. These dudes have been like full-on 4-5 hour streams the whole time that game's been out. They're not even playing it. You have to ask yourself that. These guys are not even playing the games that they're trying to get you to commit to only having access to. They're not even playing them. They're not playing them. They might be dabbling with them a little bit. They might play like the first hour or two, and they'll be like, yeah, this is such a feel-good, blah, blah, blah. But they're not actually playing these games, man. They are 100% just more interested in pushing out more content to get you to buy into an ecosystem that you might not be happy with. You might not be happy with down the road. Like, Final Fantasy 16 is an amazing game, but it's not for everyone. It's not for everyone. Some people are going to find it, too much like watching something than actually playing. And that first few hours of that game is a lot of cutscenes, there's a lot of story, a lot of time that you're just sitting there watching something. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. But that's just a thing, man. That's the reason why I have a big problem with these fanboy channels out there that are just committed to hating Xbox and spreading false information or false stuff. I'm glad Xbox is fighting back. Like I am. We need better competition, or it's going to get stagnant. It's going to get stagnant, and it's going to get stagnant fast, and you're going to get Fortnites and all of this stuff, and are going to start moving away from that single player experience that a lot of us older gamers love. And the more these fanboys sit out there and bash Xbox, at least it's good public. I mean, at least it's good attention. At least people are talking about Xbox. That obviously means that Xbox is doing something far better than what PlayStation is doing. Because if you sit there and you think about it, if you're on PlayStation, what do you really got, man? Like I just dropped my PlayStation Plus Premium down to Essential, because that's all I really need to do is pay for my saves at this point. So that's all that really matters. So, all right, man. If you guys like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe, dude. It really sucks that these fanboy channels out there just can't live and let live and just be happy about both consoles succeeding, man. They've always got to try to bash Xbox at every turn, but I'm glad Xbox is standing up for themselves this generation, man. We'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.